Welcome. Let's let everybody see me. Welcome, everybody. This is already recording. So if you registered for the class tonight, you are going to get a high quality copy of this and the slides that we're going over tonight. So I'm recording everything. So we're going to jump in because I have a lot to cover with you. So we're just going to jump right in. So, welcome to From Breakup to Breakthrough, a spiritual awakening journey. So, we want to ask ourselves a question before we enter every doorway, before we enter any cycle. We want to have awareness, and a great way to increase awareness is to ask a question. So, ask yourself this question: Are you ready to transform your pain into power, your heartbreak into healing, and your breakup into a breakthrough? There's no right or wrong answer. If you are not ready to take that responsibility on, maybe you will be another time. If you are ready, I'm glad you're here. Stay tuned. You're going to enjoy the ride, I promise. Look, this isn't just another self help course. This is a transformative journey designed to guide you from the depths of post breakup crisis to the heights of being spiritually awake and empowered transformation now and moving forward in all areas of your life. You master the tools. I sometimes call it the get awake and stay awake, right? Learning this in one crisis, the relationship, the breakup, the divorce. Once you master it, you will then be able to apply it to the next, and permanently change the way you see your life, relationships, and your reality forever. As you journey with us, you will discover how to lean into your pain and use it as a catalyst for profound self discovery and spiritual awakening. So, let's do a little intro and about me. Hello, my name is Anthony Sacred Cobra Cortino. I am a spiritual awakening guide. I help men and women in identity crisis due to divorce and breakup awaken their reality and move from unconsciously creating more pain to letting go of old patterns, manifesting love, self worth, abundance, and relationships that they truly desire. So, what I'm going to add to this is yes, I am a professional divorce and relationship coach. I work very heavily in this arena. 90% of my clients are actively discerning or going through or in the post divorce breakup process. And I've had some things to share over my lifetime of experience with my own relationships and my own spiritual journey that I've been teaching to individuals for the last several years. And I want to teach some of these things to you because this is a different way of approaching healing. And I think you're going to like it. So, like many of you, I've experienced the raw pain of a breakup, the disorienting, obsessive thoughts that seem to shake the very core of our being, right? Not eating, not sleeping, totally consumed with my thoughts, playing that tape over and over again. We've all been there multiple times in our life, usually. But in that pain, I found powerful tools for healing and growth that I chose to ignore, yet they were always there with me. That's spirituality. So I embraced this transformative journey, rising from the ashes of heartbreak, stronger, more enlightened. I like to say, I know how to get awake and stay awake. And that's what we teach now. So today I've dedicated my life to guiding others in this transformative path, empowering them to turn their breakups into breakthroughs. And now I'm here to guide you on this journey. By the end of this masterclass, I promise you a clear step by step spiritual path to transcend the pain of your breakup and embrace a new chapter of joy, peace, personal growth, and much, much more. So let's just start with some basics. What is a spiritual awakening? A spiritual awakening is a process of inner transformation that can be triggered by various experiences such as trauma, near death experiences, or even high states of meditation. So that's where we come to why I'm here. What I have learned is that you can use these processes effectively to be spiritually awake, highly aware, and actually integrate new tools into your daily life. So the contrast, the conflict, the identity crisis, the spiritual crisis is coming from not knowing who we are anymore. The relationship with ourselves is affected when we go through a severe breakup, a 10, 20, 30-year divorce. There's a lot of things that's the same thing as trauma. And this can trigger us to lean in or to keep running away as we have been. So this process is really great if you lean in, because all of a sudden the patterns don't repeat themselves long after the divorce. So I want you to be happy now. If you're in the middle of it, if you're about to go through with it, or if you're past it, it's time to let it go. And we're only scratching the surface in today's session. It can lead to a deeper connection to the universe or your own higher power, greater understanding of one's purpose, definitely increasing empathy, compassion, and inner peace. This journey, however, is not about bypassing the pain, but about harnessing it, using it as fuel to propel you towards higher levels of self-understanding and awareness. Now, this isn't just a promise. It's a life-changing decision. It's the choice to transform your heartbreak into an opportunity for profound personal growth, to turn your breakup into a breakthrough. Making this one choice again and again will change your life. So again, we ask ourselves this question: are you really ready? I don't know about you, but many times I've made a choice and regretted it 30 seconds, a minute later, a week later. So we want to constantly check in with our self-awareness. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? If you are, let's begin. Now, why do people in a breakup or divorce resist seeing the spiritual path to transform themselves? Now, I put this in here because as a divorce coach, when I'm working with individuals or promoting my business and the niching within coaching, there's more of an expectation as a divorce coach to be like basically a mini attorney, coming up with lists and coming up with accountability, scripting conversations between you and your soon to be ex, and all that's part of the process. However, it's still a lot of matter against matter. Doesn't leave room for faith, doesn't leave room for the magic, because if we already know what's going to happen, then nothing's going to change. So this is why most people are avoiding, for many reasons. We're going to list them here. But I've heard so many times years ago this idea, and I still see it until we break through. There's a belief that I can't work on myself. I can't be happy. I'm not going to be spiritual and be in my power until this horrible nightmare of a divorce is over. If you're watching this or listening to this, you're probably somebody that has been leaning towards spirituality your entire life, and you just had a challenge integrating it. So what we're talking about is, we're not talking about living our lives 90% of the time forgiving, understanding, vulnerable, and accepting. We're talking about 100% of the time. And what we do when we do this is we have magical experiences. Suddenly, when you drop the expectation that you know how your ex partner is going to receive something or behave, once you literally stop saying they do that, all of a sudden they change. because you dropped the story and you drop that energetic expectation because we are all creating from within. And again, I'm going to get too deep where I can't get out of this and we'll get way off topic, but let's jump in. A lot of excuses why we don't do it. We're going to talk about a few right here. So, people in a breakup or divorce may resist seeing the spiritual path to transform themselves due to emotional pain, resistance to change, blame and resentment, lack of the spiritual belief or understanding, that's the tools, knowing how to use them in conflict, grief and loss, and also one that is still a big deal. I'll tell you that every client I have starts off with this. It's still highly influenced by the culture and societal perceptions that the view of breakups and divorce is that they're a failure. Regardless of the support we're giving, en masse, we still see it as a failure. So let's talk about each one a little bit more. So, number one, emotional pain. Breakups and divorce are often associated, no duh, with significant amounts of emotional pain. So, the trigger, the moment, I just got the wound that I've been waiting for. It is so real right now. That's going to get in the way of choosing a spiritual journey when the wound is highly active, right? I teach this for a living, and some days I can't see my hand in front of my face because I am still in a human body. Even though living a spiritual experience, I'm still going to fall victim sometimes and not get out of my own way when I get triggered. So, why? Because why do we experience this emotional pain? Because the attachments to people and the meanings around those relationships are challenged, right? If you're my life partner, if you're a child that's in the middle of the situation, my attachment to the labels that you and I are playing are going to be opportunities for me to be in emotional pain because I'm looking outside of myself with that attachment. This pain can make it difficult for individuals to perceive any potential, right? Perceive any potential. How many times do we say, I can't wait until it's over, no matter what. I can't see past tomorrow until this person is gone. That illusion keeps us constantly looking for something else to fulfill us. So we need to change that routine. So that can make us say, hey, I don't believe in anything positive is going to happen until this breakup is over, or they're on different planets, or I move out of state. And you take yourself wherever you go. Another one is the resistance to change. Most of my clients are with somebody for 20 or 30 years. So yeah, it's a big change. It's a big change. So change can be difficult to embrace, especially when it comes at the end of a significant relationship. I also like to call these our sacred relationships, the ones that are really meaningful, the one where you love them more than anybody else before. Those are the ones we're talking about. People might resist the idea of transforming themselves because they're comfortable with who they are, or they're afraid of what change might bring. How many times do we say, do you say, and do I say, that's just who I am? I can't let this go. I can't be nice to that person. They did something wrong to me 20 years ago or 5 minutes ago. And this is who I am. Or when we're constantly rescuing and being a doormat, that's just who I am. You can change your I am statements. The point is, the harder we resist change, the more pain we're going to feel in the process of holding on to the past that's long and gone, and also holding on to our imagined future. If we're still romanticizing that, it's time to look at creating a new vision, one that's yours. So we definitely can resist a higher calling going through a breakup and a divorce and resist change because we don't want to know who we are. We're scared. This is happening all the time. Another one, big one, especially in high conflict, the blame and resentment. In the aftermath of a breakup or divorce, it's common for people to feel resentment. It's fine. These are normal feelings. Placing blame on their ex-partner. We're talking about the excess. Are you putting all the blame on them? Are you accepting no responsibility, zero, not even 5% on your own? Where are you falling into? That might show you why this is still alive or active and getting in the way of you getting out of your own way. The desire to stay hurt and angry, avoiding your own part in the breakup, or demanding that this is a good one, demanding that their wrong against you is worse than the wrong you made against them. It's a tricky one. And when that one comes out, there's definitely emotional reaction when we're doing that in the session, but then we can actually let it go, right? So are we overemphasizing our former partner's part and minimizing our own? Harmony, we will find a better result. So this can all prevent them from looking inward and seeing the situation as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Now, here is one where I feel like this is why I'm here on the planet. It's the tools that I'm teaching that we just don't get, because awakening is built into your physiology. Every year, a new technique comes out as the new, stronger, bigger, better way to awaken ourselves and increase our consciousness. They're all true. It's all there. So what we notice in this work is that we can awaken over and over and over again. However, if we're still using the same tools we used when we were asleep, those are going to take us from awake right back down to unconscious behavior, unconsciously creating. So it's important to accept the awakening process. It's going to happen naturally if you just get out of your own damn way. But I want to also encourage you, this is why this is here. You want to learn new tools and then actually spend the time and the discipline integrating those tools into your daily life. Because when you're awake, when you're aware, when you're aligned, you have to do things differently because you're perceiving reality differently. So put the old tools down, pick up some new tools. So yeah, lack of spiritual belief or understanding. Not everyone is spiritually inclined, period. A lot of us have shut ourselves down for decades. Don't see it's possible. Or they don't understand the concept of spiritual growth. Most spiritual people only go as far as their beliefs will take them. And this one I run into a lot. They will call out logic and reality to avoid choosing a broader perspective. So this is when you have an option to let go of something, to actually embrace a deeper perspective, a one to how we're all connected, how we're all the same person, where we're living an alter, anything that we could actually lean into and see and experience the truth of it, like that. If we're really resistant, we're going to bring up logic. We're going to talk about Hitler. We're going to talk about people who do bad things on purpose and use these logic bombs to somehow say that, okay, I'm going to be spiritual until you do anything wrong. Then I'm not going to have to be spiritual anymore. Now I'm going to go back to, I saw that you did something wrong, and therefore I think I have some special gift that sees better than other people. And I'm going to use this to condemn you and everyone else and fight for other things. And I'm going to forget about myself. And it'll be all about the movement, all about the persecution. That's defense mechanisms, right? We always tend to control other people and other things when we don't realize that is on us. Well, you can see I can go way off tangent here. That's why I write everything down. So as a result, they may not be seeing their breakthrough or divorce as an opportunity for spiritual transformation. If you've only ever dealt with conflict, fire with fire, if you've only ever been to support groups that talk about looking for behavior, labeling it, and then demanding someone changes for you, if that's all you're used to, yeah, you're not going to understand that there's a spiritual path that has a much higher success rate, because the labels don't ever make you happy. They just isolate you more and more, create more illusion. Also, grief and loss. The end of a relationship can be a significant loss that incurs a period of pain. We're not saying that pain doesn't exist. We're not saying that time I do say that time is an illusion a lot. But yeah, in the moment, the wound is fresh, it's active. So let's pay attention to the rest of this. During this time and the illusion of time, people might be more focused on processing their loss than on a potential growth or transformation. Labels and rationalizing keep the pain active and alive. It's simply easier than controlling your mind. These are really strong reasons why you might hold on to the grief and the loss. The new habit has become the new habit, and you don't feel right not experiencing pain because that's habitual and you think that's what you need to continue doing. We can bypass that. And again, the cultural and societal perceptions, it's still seen as a failure. Today, our culture still judges those who are divorced. It grades the length of years and the age to make hard judgments about both parties. How many times do you want to hear the details? Got divorced. Great. What's the next question? You want to know whose fault it was. Then we want to know how the kid's doing, right? We're looking for a problem. Guess what? We're creating as we're looking for it. So if we perceive a problem, we're going to create more problems. So yeah, the way we look at these situations is still an issue versus accepting someone just, it didn't work out. Let them do their process. This perception can make it difficult for individuals to view these situations in a positive light or as opportunities for spiritual transformation. Again, really strong ones here. The assumptions about yourself and your ex. So during and after a breakup, it can be easy to fall into the trap of making assumptions about yourself and or your ex-partner. When you work with me one-on-one, this takes about a month typically. Worst case scenario, about 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden the narrative changes. Just giving you a little insight there, right? The more we assume you know what your ex is up to, what they mean, that label is now on yourself. And that gets in the way of your joy, the way of your peace. And also, you're going to assume it from other people too. So we want to watch out for the assumptions because breaking through means letting assumptions go, changing your mind. And then people magically change in front of your eyes. It's crazy until you experience it. But this is how you practice it to make it happen. So if you're still insisting that your limiting beliefs about yourself and your ex-partner are worse than they are, persisting that you are right and they are wrong, right? In the words of Robert Edward Grant, you attract what you judge. Abraham Hicks, we are in an attraction-based universe, not an assertion-based universe, right? Whatever I judge about somebody, I start attracting that and I see it time and time again. But you have to slow down and let go of the assumptions to realize it. Then your life will change. So all this can prevent individuals from seeing the situation objectively or as an opportunity for spiritual transformation. One more. The habitual thoughts and your poor mental discipline. I still get lazy sometimes. This is an ever evolving process. So the habitual thoughts, such as the rumination, right? Thinking about the story over and over again in your head, overthinking it because that's who you are, talking the negative self-talk all day and all night with multiple voices, right? All this can lead to a lack of mental discipline. You're letting your mind race. Of course, you're going to believe you can't control it. Unfortunately, you're the one that made it do that. So you're the one that can change that. Also, if you're playing the scenes over in your head and in conversations seeking to be validated, this is why I say be careful of support groups. Be careful of a group that encourages you to attach a label or that feeds your need to be validated. Because the more you think about it, the more you talk about it, the more you're going to manifest it. So if you haven't shared your pain with anybody at all, you're backed into a corner of disempowerment. Reach out to your best friend who's not going to comment and just ask them to let you vent. Yes, go find support. I'm just saying, please have discernment and awareness around any kind of group where you are encouraged to get in the hole and dig the hole deeper and tell your story over and over again, causing yourself to get upset and triggered, flooding your body with more hormones. Because I'll tell you what happens is you tell the story the very next day and you start where you ended it. And all of a sudden, the illusion becomes your reality. So we want to be very careful about support groups. Be discerning. I can't say there's the right way or wrong way to do it, but I'll definitely say watch out for the labels. Watch out for one-way conversations. Okay. So if you're playing that scene over and over again, if you're talking about it to get validated, if you're saying, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, and you've done it 3 or 4 times or more, I want you to take a breath. Take a breath. You might be feeding a new addiction. So please have some discernment. This type of mindset can make it hard to view the situation objectively or see the opportunity for transformation. So while it's true that these reactions to breakups and divorces can be highly individualized and dependent on a variety of factors, it is important to note that there are some common experiences and emotions that many people go through during these difficult times. For instance, it's not uncommon for an individual to feel a sense of loss, sadness, depression following a breakup or a divorce. These are totally normal. Don't let anyone tell you that they're not normal, they're not valid. The question is, how long do you want to stay in those emotions? So, in addition, feelings of anger, anxiety, frustration can all also be present. And I'm just going to throw this in there. I didn't type this up, but let's be careful of the time illusion. Let's be careful of how many times are we saying it's just going to take some time. It's just going to take a little bit more time. I don't know what I can do to feel better. It's just going to take time. That may take 20 or 30 years because if we're surrendering to the illusion of time and not becoming proactive on our healing, when we do, that's unconscious. That reasoning, time will never bring relief because we're literally affirming that we need more time. So just have some discernment. Have some discernment. Watch for the patterns. Okay, it's worth noting that the length of the relationship and the nature of the breakup, these are important factors too, and the level of emotional investment can all impact one's response to the breakup. Therefore, it is important to approach each situation with compassion, understanding, and an open mind, as everyone's experience is unique and deserving of respect. Notice I say things like everyone. This includes everybody in the process, not just you, because we're going the spiritual route. We're forgiving everyone and everything so we can actually come out stronger, better, happier, period, no matter the situation. So let's talk about a big problem with not choosing spiritual awakening in crisis, in conflict of relationships. By choosing the same mundane actions and reactions in your process of healing through this difficult time, you're not going to be aware of the patterns that you are the one that's repeating. And you focus on what the other person did to you. And I found this stuff by doing it myself, everybody. Look, the concern is, are you still talking about what they did to you 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years later? Are we going on new dates and talking about our old wound so that they know where we're coming from, as if it's some kind of warning or some kind of demand for them to try harder, right? Are we using that as an excuse to project conflict a year into a wonderful relationship, but something triggers the old wound that we haven't dealt with, right? What are you bringing to the table? What's still active within you? What are you projecting? What are you conscious of? What are you unconscious of? Or if you are focused on yourself, targeting yourself as 100% blame, that's also not going to be good, right? You will naturally be triggering shame towards yourself, and that pattern will keep you disempowered moving forward, right? You will then expect to be mistreated, for example, by somebody. And then, surprise, surprise, you're talking to me 4 or 5 relationships after your breakup, wondering why you keep attracting the same guy or girl with the same issues, right? We're saying we have to look at what part are we doing, and can we leave the other person out of it because they're gone now and we can't change them. So let them go. Let's change me, change ourselves. It's always about balance. So either way, patterns always win. And if you cannot let go of yours, you may find yourself going from religion to religion, community to community. Oh my gosh, how many books, everybody, right? Book to book, relationship after relationship, partner after partner, failed relationship over and all over again, right? Label after label until you finally are ready to let it all go. So it's really common for people to come to me after they've gone through a series of therapists or other divorce coaches that go through checklists. And one of the great things I love to see happen is when someone says, "Hey, I was married to a narcissist. I was married to this toxic personality, and all the labels came out, and I learned them all. And you know what? I just don't care about the labels anymore. I want all the labels to go away. I want to be done with it because every time I use that label, I keep affirming that I am that person I was 5, 10, 15 years ago." Right. So, again, if you're on this webinar versus somebody else's webinar, you might be leaning to what I'm putting down. You just haven't found a way to actualize these actual tools when you're in the middle of a storm. It's easy when we go to Bali. It's easy when we run away. It's easy when we go up the mountain, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But I don't know about you. I want to be able to trigger my bliss on command, speed of thought, no matter what's going on, so that my actions are going to come from an aligned place, an empowered place, not a triggered, scared, angry, wounded, thinking of my egoic history self. Yeah, those choices are usually the wrong ones because of the same ones they've always been, right? So we want to learn to lean in. So be careful. If you're going from church to church, pastor to pastor, joining one community for a few years, then another one, if you're going just book after book, but not integrating anything, but just consuming books. If you go from relationship to relationship, it doesn't work out, and you immediately go into another one, and you have that high of thinking they're your soulmate, and then you realize they're not 2 weeks later, right? If you are still using labels that served you at one point, but now they're keeping you trapped in your pain, it's time to look at these patterns because they're going to win. You got to change your pattern because spiritual awakening is the fastest way to let the past stay in the past. You can do traditional therapy. Talk therapy has its strengths and weaknesses too. You can do going back in time and doing drama therapy from when you were a child. All that's great. But are you integrating it? Are you letting it go? Or are you learning something and then using that as an excuse to be in pain? Oh, I remember this moment when I was a kid, right? These traumas happen to you, yes, but do you have to remember them? Do you have to go to them? Spiritual awakening is one of the fastest ways to actually get past it, let it go, and forget you even had happen. So glad you're still here. Now, you do not have to keep remembering your trauma or your old story anymore. You can choose to stop talking about it. You can choose to focus on your vision. Even if you think you don't have one, great, then work on that versus the excuse you don't have one. You can choose to let it go. Now, another question for you. What is an identity crisis? Not the age identity crisis where The cliche is the guy goes out and buys the Corvette, right? That's an old, outdated one. An identity crisis, an actual one. The one that's experienced going through a divorce is what I'm talking about. When your relationship changes, when you change. So, an identity crisis is a state of uncertainty and confusion when a person's sense of identity is unstable or in conflict. Hello, you're married, you're not married. You're in a relationship, you're not in a relationship. Your label of who you think you are is changing. It's going to be affected. You're going to feel pain. You're going to feel conflict. There's going to be a reaction. It can be triggered by significant life changes or events such as breakups, divorce, job loss, or other major transitions, and often involves questioning. Say it again, because assumptions get in the way of us breaking through. So we want to break through by questioning your beliefs, questioning your values, questioning your self-concept. If you have been promoting that you were a victim, we're not saying it didn't happen. We're saying, are you still promoting in how you talk about your pain? Are you unconsciously reactivating the victim consciousness? Therefore, you're attracting more opportunities to be right. We're asking about discernment, awareness. The crisis may lead to a reevaluation of one's goals, relationships, life direction, and can ultimately result in personal growth, etc., etc. Now, next section, harnessing spiritual awakening for healing, growth after a breakup or divorce. Yes, experiencing divorce or breakup can be much like descending into the depths of hell, going deeper, deeper, and deeper. The more we talk about it, we definitely do. However, such a life-altering event can also serve as a catalyst for profound experience of heaven right in the middle of the storm. So I'm going to get off script here. So one of the things I teach, one of the tools I teach in step 3 of my creator consciousness program, my spiritual awakening program that goes through the 3 creator phases: unconscious, conscious, and then being. And there's 9 steps to do that. When we can understand the paradox of me being right doesn't make you wrong, when you can both be right, leaning into the paradox is a huge sign of spiritual awareness and spiritual maturity, emotional maturity, the whole 9 yards. When we can stand in the middle of a storm and still know who we truly are, I don't know about you, but that's what I like. I want to know who I am. So, understanding in step 3, I want you to hear this. If you never take anything in, if you can perceive hell, you can also perceive heaven. So we have this in Buddhist teachings, we have this in the Bible, and we also have proven this with science, because now science and religion are all coming together. There's no more arguments, right? If you're still arguing about it, you might want to update your Google and see who's winning Nobel Prizes for proving that the thoughts in your head are literally creating your reality. It's already out there. So stop fighting against it as your excuse to think about negative things because you think that they've already happened. No, we have to watch our thoughts. So we want to use all this as a catalyst to pivot, to take the bounce, or else we're going to stay miserable, stay unhappy, regurgitate reality, have the same relationship over and over again. Now remember this, the lotus flower always grows more beautiful and vibrant in the murkiest waters. Now here are some potential benefits of harnessing spirituality during these difficult times. Self-discovery, because it's all about the self. You may have been ignoring yourself because of the label you're playing, the role that you put on or someone put on top of you. So self-discovery is going to show up big time. A spiritual awakening often involves a deep exploration of the self, leading to new insights about personal strengths, weaknesses, desires, life goals. It can offer a chance to redefine oneself independent of a past relationship and develop a stronger sense of self-identity. Who are you now? It's a great coping mechanism. So spiritual practices like meditation, mindfulness, and I'm going to say effective prayer can be effective coping mechanisms. They can bring calm and peace in moments of distress, help manage negative emotions, and foster a sense of inner strength and resilience. Perspective shifting, absolutely. Spirituality can promote a broader perspective of your life, seeing beyond this thing you're staring at that you keep talking about, seeing the bigger picture, seeing the mass of who you truly are. You're not going to find that in a group, in a circle, in a community, in a book. You're only going to find that inside of you through your process to awaken no matter what. So it can reinforce the understanding that life encompasses a series of experiences, both positive and negative, all contributing to our ceremony of life. You are on a sacred ceremony of life. So let's start acting like it. Forgiveness and letting go. We're going to go deeper in here. Now, some people don't like this part. I get it. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to talk to you why you want to lean into it anyway. So, spiritual awakening often includes embracing forgiveness, both of oneself and for others. This can be crucial in healing from the pain of a failed relationship, letting go of resentment and moving forward. So, I was on a virtual summit, number 24 of 24 divorce professionals. And as of the time of this recording, I'm going to be on day 8. I believe they're on day 3. So I'm on the last day. And the interviewer is also a divorce professional. And I'm the only person talking about spirituality out of 24 professionals. And when we're talking about this, here this coach, this influencer said, "It's interesting you say that." Well, of course it is. What's your reasoning for saying that? She said to me before we were recording, "I did all my healing work. I learned the labels. I got out of my situation from the really bad marriage I was in. But you know what, Anthony? I wasn't happy until I actually forgave him." And I asked the next question. I knew the answer. I was like, "Why?" "So why were you finally able to forgive him?" And she said, "Because I was finally able to forgive myself." So there is this paradox experience. If you can't see past your own hand right now, it's okay. Hopefully this plants a seed for some time in the future for you. You won't truly be free and ready to love somebody with 150% of your heart again until you can forgive somebody else. And you can't forgive somebody else until you forgive yourself for your own part. So if you're reacting to this and something's stirring, I'm going to ask you to lean in. Journal about that. Ask yourself some questions. There's some gold in there you may be leaving off the table for yourself. So let's lean in. Let's get scared, get angry, right? If you can't forgive them, ask yourself the question, what am I not forgiving about myself? If you can't forgive yourself, there's some work to do there. It's deep work. It's only for you to do. Okay, boy, we're never going to get through this the way I'm going. Connection. Spirituality can foster a sense of connection to something larger than oneself, whether it's a higher power, the universe, nature, or a community of like-minded individuals. This can alleviate feelings of isolation or loneliness that may accompany a breakup or divorce. And of course, if everyone here has gone through a breakup or divorce, you probably understand this statement, right? You may have felt alone when you were still with them, right? So being with somebody, you can feel alone. Being away from them, you can still feel alone. What's the common denominator? You can fix that. You can change that. Okay, turn that can't into can. All right. Resilience. Oh man, there's some of these are just unique to what gets me excited. You can tell. Resilience. So spiritual beliefs and practices can instill hope and optimism, promoting resilience in the face of adversity, right? They can serve as a reminder that difficulties are transitory. They come and they go. They're like waves, right? And that one has the inner resources, or that one has inner resources to overcome them. So we're going to talk about resilience when I have 4 testimonies tonight. So you're going to hear about resilience later on and growth, right? The process of awakening can stimulate personal growth. Duh. Right? This might include developing new skills at some age. You might be 30, 40, 55, and it's time to learn something new. Don't use age as an excuse, right? Pursuing neglected passions. This is a big one that happens when we go through a breakup, right? It's time to get those old passions again. I was talking to a guy the other day. I asked him, what do you like to do? He doesn't know anymore. 13 years into a relationship, into a marriage. He was this loving stepdad to 2 beautiful kids. It's so fresh for him. He literally does not know who he is right now, right? He just moved out, right? In the middle of it, take a breath. Take a breath. Be compassionate to yourself. When you're ready, do the work, right? You can move into those neglected passions or making lifestyle changes that contribute to overall well-being, right? If you couldn't work out before because your partner shamed you every time you wanted to work out, do you want to keep talking about that after it's over, or do you want to go work out and deal with your stuff? You pick it. You go for it. In summary, utilizing spirituality during a divorce or breakup can provide emotional support, foster resilience, and stimulate personal growth, ultimately leading to a stronger and more authentic self. However, it's important to note that each person's spiritual journey is unique, and what works for one may not work for another. Therefore, it's crucial to explore various spiritual practices and beliefs to find what resonates with you deeply. Again, discernment. Don't go into an echo chamber of some coach or guru that you're not working with and just follow a cookie cutter process. That sounds like dogma. And usually we have a problem with dogma, don't we? We want to be free. We want to be in charge of our own connection, turning within, right? So practice, try many different things, but be discerning. Then you know if you're in the right place and be willing to change. Go from one place to the next. Now, here we go. Understanding the spiritual perspectives on breakups. One of the most important steps in processing a breakup or divorce is shifting our mindset. Rather than viewing these events solely, again, I'm really trying to emphasize certain words. We're never saying, because sometimes when we're triggered, we hear words differently. I don't know about you, but if I'm triggered, I'm going to hear a different statement than I just made, right? So I'm saying we don't want to view these events of what they did to you, how traumatic it was, how much money was spent. We don't want to look solely at these events through the lens of pain, because you're going to keep getting more of it. Whatever you put your attention to grows. You can't argue that. It's a fact. So the pain, the loss, and our ego, we start seeing them as a chance to turn the lens inward. Again, if you're judging somebody else as a blank, take a breath and say, just like me. Go into the mirror and say it to yourself and just take a look at yourself and see what happens. Face yourself and see what happens. I promise you, you're worth it. You're worth having that moment and that experience. Ugly as it may be, it's going to be beautiful. Promise. Now, by turning the lens inward, we search for our new identity instead of holding on to the old one that we've lost, because that person's dead. That person's gone. We choose the intention for our life's direction instead of demanding we have nothing. They took everything from me. My God, how bored am I of telling that story? We find the sacred inside the mundane instead of unconsciously repeating it over and over again in our next relationships. So, firstly, it's essential to acknowledge the concept of impermanence. In Buddhism, it's one of the 3 marks of existence, highlighting that nothing in life remains static or unchanging. So this truth applies to relationships as well. They're part of our life's ebb and flow. The endings do not denote failure, but rather the natural progression of life. Things come in waves. The universe ebbs and flows, just like our faith, just like our beliefs. Be willing to step back and take a breath. Embracing impertinence allows us to accept the end of a relationship as a part of the natural cycle of life and existence, rather than as a personal shortcoming or tragedy that will never be healed. Secondly, we should consider the purpose of relationships in our spiritual journey. That's why I call them sacred relationships. They're there for a reason. They're your freaking mirror. No better mirror than the person that you love more than life itself. Okay. So, relationships, romantic or not, provide us with invaluable opportunities to learn and grow. They challenge us, show us aspects of ourselves that we might not have been aware of, and ultimately aid us in our journey towards self understanding and self actualization. From this perspective, every relationship, regardless of its duration or ending, serves as a significant purpose in our life's journey. Again, it's hard to, I wrote all these, every word out, and it's hard to hide what I have a lot of juice on. So, my techniques that I have coined, my proven processes that I'll talk about other things, my steps, I learned them and I apply them in relationship because I found that when I did healing when I was isolated and alone, that was in a vacuum. So why would I react the same way or attract the same situation when I was in a relationship? So we want to look at every relationship as an opportunity to learn who we truly are, loving ourselves more than ever before by loving somebody else more than we ever have before, right? The infinite potential is there. We are born to love. If we're making excuses to not love, we got to look at that because we want to move on. So finally, let's explore the transformative power of pain. While breakups can be undoubtedly be painful, it's within this pain that we often find the most profound opportunities and transcend it. It is through our struggles that we are compelled to delve deeper into our inner selves, to reflect, to learn, and ultimately to evolve. Pain acts as a catalyst for self reflection and introspection, pushing us to confront aspects of ourselves that we might otherwise avoid, right? You can avoid them all you want. They're going to manifest the path of least resistance. So, of course, the person in front of you for weeks, months, years that you're still dealing with, they are the path of least resistance of manifesting your internal dialogue, right? Everyone behaves with your thoughts pushed out. And until you realize that, we go on the cycle of efforting, condemning, punishing, demanding our needs be met, and then no one can ever meet them because we're the one that needs to meet our own needs, especially when it comes to love and self-worth. Now, it encourages us to seek healing, and through that healing process, we can be the lead in our lives. Now, seeing breakups from a spiritual perspective doesn't negate the pain and the loss that come from the end of a relationship. We're not saying to ignore it. We're saying something deeper. However, it does offer a pathway towards healing and growth. It shifts our mindset from one of despair and hopelessness to one of acceptance and potential. So by understanding the impertinence of relationships, recognizing their role in our spiritual journey, and harnessing the transformative power of pain, we can approach breakups not as tragedies, but as opportunities for a life of joy, regardless. That's why I teach this. Regardless of what they freaking did or anyone else is going to do. That's what we're getting to. Okay, great. First testimony. This is about Nicole. Now, I was introduced to Nicole right after she got out of the hospital. She was in a 20-year marriage. love of her life, duly devoted wife. She's a freaking yoga unicorn teaching for over 10 years. She is a trainer, right? She's a yoga teacher, certification teacher. Like she teaches people to renew their license and then renew their hours. She's one of the few people that's actually pelvic floor certified. That's rare to find and hard to find these days. The list goes on and on. She traveled the world with other yogis, teaching in Germany, Spain, Mexico, Italy, of course, all over the States, doing workshops. And then her 20-year marriage fell apart during COVID. She had to stop working. And what's interesting is that she was faced with all of her self-worth issues because the person that her 20-year partner, husband, left her for has almost the same name, has the same look, hair, literally drove the same Jeep Renegade, had a little girl. So this triggered a lot of self-worth because Nicole couldn't have children. And also this woman was about 20 years younger than Nicole. So when people say I got traded in for a newer model, that's what Nicole went through. I doubt any of us would have acted any differently. So she confronted these things. She leaned in. During our work, she continued to date. And they were great opportunities to realize her pattern because it took 4 relationships to finally wake up and see she was still creating from lack. She was still attracting with an expectation. And when something would go wrong, she would start talking about, I know what this guy is doing because I dealt with it for 20 years, right? Does this sound familiar? How disempowering of it is that? So finally, I was able to show her that she was doing great everywhere else. When it came to dating, she repeated the same process over and over again. And when she finally realized her patterns, her self-worth issue, and literally stopped reacting, she didn't want anybody anymore. She didn't need anybody anymore. She started getting back into her business. She started focusing on her vision, connecting with other yogis, doing her private practice again, getting back out there and being who she truly is. And I'm going to fast forward to the end here because next thing you know, she's the first person in her family to leave the state. She moved out of the state to be with her new love of her life, and they had been together for over a year. The only reason she could do that is because she kept leaning in. She looked at things as not as mistakes, but as opportunities. And she had me yelling at her like, look at yourself. What are you doing? Whenever she complained about these guys. Once she changed, her reality changed. So that's just one. Hope you liked it. Now, awakening your inner strength. In the wake of a breakup or divorce, a profound source of healing lies within ourselves. Unseen yet potent, it's our inner strength that propels us forward through life's most challenging moments. To access this strength, there are several powerful techniques at our disposal, such as meditation, mindfulness, and self affirmations, emphasizing the self. Now, meditation is, in its simplest form, the act of quieting the mind. Now, you could argue that there's no such thing as quieting the mind. It's a phrase, right? At the bare minimum, you will all agree that slowing momentum down of the story and the conscious thoughts in your mind is a good thing. So if you're not into the belief that you can actually quiet the mind, then you want to use meditation to slow momentum down to gain control over your conscious thoughts. It's about finding space, a space of calm amidst crisis, a center of stillness within the whirlwind of our thoughts and emotions. This practice can be particularly beneficial during times of emotional upheaval, helping us to ground ourselves and reconnect with our inner peace. So, real quick, we're going to practice this, and you can do this anytime, anywhere. I want you to go along with my voice. We don't need music. This stuff is easy. I want you meditating 5, 10 times a day. We don't have to turn into a 2-hour practice, right? You build momentum by doing the activity. So I want you to imagine yourself fully embodied. What shirt are you wearing? What shoes are you wearing if you're wearing shoes? Pick a river. Pick the surroundings. Is it a deep forest? Is it a beach? I want you to create as fast as you're thinking, possibly. I want you to see a small river right in front of you, out of your own eyeballs, not in third person. We want to be a full body immersion, feeling the breeze, noticing the inhale into your nostril. Is it a cold inhale? Is it a hot inhale? Are you breathing in your stomach or into your chest? Just breathe for a moment. Allow your focus to separate from this mundane world and be there in front of this flowing body of water. And I don't know about you, but right now I can hear it. Now I can hear it. So I want you to bring all your 5 senses in. What do you smell? What does it feel like on your skin? The breeze, the sound of the water, the taste in your mouth. The more real it is, the more real it is. So when you imagine yourself in front of this river, I want you to watch a leaf in the distance getting closer and closer to you. As this leaf gets closer, you notice its color more deeply. You notice whether it's a whole leaf or a flat leaf. You notice what kind of leaf it is. Give it shape, give it mass, give it density. And I want you just to watch it. Watch it float right by. Noticing your breath, noticing your skin, noticing the smell in the air. As you notice this leaf get further, further away. Notice we don't try to stop them. We don't change their direction. We simply observe them and let them pass. I teach very specific techniques around replacing our thoughts. And again, more teachings, right? You cannot subdue, stamp out, squash out, or remove a thought. You can replace it. And that's what you want to do with an exercise like this. Let those thoughts come and go. The more you attach meaning to those thoughts, the more you're going to react to those thoughts and think that's reality, when it's actually you're the one that just chose it. So this is an essence of meditation. Now, it's the practice of bringing our full attention to the here and now. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. That's from Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. Now, I do teach advanced techniques beyond meditation, highly advanced visualization to manifest your chosen reality instead of regurgitating your unconscious living over and over again. I teach this because meditation lowers resistance, lowers your thoughts. Visualizing and embodying the wish fulfilled of your now reality is part of my spiritual awakening program, because you have to get specific. You have to use all of your 5 senses and then affirm that reality until it manifests. And this is a different level. Now, if you're not ready for that, you're just trying to calm yourself down. We're not going to visualize that. We're going to meditate that. Try the leaf technique and look them up on YouTube. I think I have one myself, right? There are many out there. Just practice noticing things and letting them go. This is like going to the gym and lifting 5 pounds over and over again before you're ready to go to 15 and 20. Start somewhere and build discipline in a way that you're guaranteed to move forward. Don't jump too far. You're going to get discouraged. Try going to a full audio sensory visualization without ever any practice or teaching. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to give up and go, this doesn't work. So stick with meditating for now. Meditate. Now, mindfulness, on the other hand, is about being present and fully engaged in whatever you're doing at the moment, free from distraction or judgment, right? If you are judging your ex as a blank, you're attaching a judgment. So you're not in the present moment, even if it's true. Persisting in those thoughts keep us out of alignment because we're going to align to whatever we're thinking about and talking about. Do you want more of that? Or do you want something else? So choose what you're talking about. Choose what you're persisting in. This can be especially helpful when navigating the emotional waves of a breakup, allowing us to stay grounded and present rather than getting lost in the past or anxious about the future, right? We're either dealing with the loss of the past or our fear of the future. Either way, we're not in the present moment. Even if you have logical excuses for it and data, I understand. Everyone's right, but that's not what we're talking about here. Self-affirmations. Oh, here we go. Love it. Are another powerful tool for awakening our inner strength. These are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves, affirming our worth, affirming our abilities, affirming our resilience. They serve as reminders of our inherent strength and potential. A simple affirmation like, I am resilient, I am strong, I am capable of healing and growth. I'm going to say does have profound, empowering reactions. Now, here's something you want to look at. It's important that your I am statements be plentiful and unique. I have a client that has 17 affirmations. They're all customized to him. They're very unique to what he's going through. And whenever he feels low, he goes to the mirror and he pulls out his phone where he has it in the notes and he starts with one. And he feels like a complete moron and a complete idiot with one. By the time he gets to 5 and 6, he's starting to feel a little bit better. By the time you see what I'm saying? Like it just, you do this kind of work, you're going to get results. You can say that it doesn't work and not do it, or you can do it until it starts working. The choice is yours. And I'm going to say, don't fall into any traps of thinking affirmations don't work. It's how are you affirming? If you're affirming from lack, you're pushing it away. The same as if you're praying from lack. If you're praying from your broken heart, praying for someone to come into your life and fix all your problems, that's not assuming the wish fulfilled. That's not praying with gratitude. That's praying as a victim. So it's about the nuance and the subtleties. And only you can know the difference because the words don't really matter. It's about your intention and your feelings. So you learn to use your custom crafted and aligned affirmations and mantras to help you persist in your vision of your heaven on earth directly in the face of your own illusions, keeping you stuck. I teach this in my conscious leadership mantras training inside my spiritual awakening program because you want to create your own unique affirmation with your own meaning, with your own why, attached to your own sensory system. That's when they're going to work. If you're just droning on repetitiously, routinely, without any feeling or embodiment, then no, you're not going to do anything with that. It's not going to do anything. Okay, so let's engage in a brief practice now. So this one is very important to me. This is one of mine, and it still holds true many years after I created it. So I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and repeat silently to yourself. Follow along with me. I am strong. I am flexible. I forgive myself. Feeling the words resonating within you, strengthening you from the inside out. If you don't feel anything, you just hold on to it a little bit longer. Hold on to that thought and watch what comes up. I am strong. I am flexible. I forgive myself. Hold on to this affirmation whenever you find yourself struggling. Remember those words. I am strong. I am flexible. And I forgive myself. Awakening your inner strength is about recognizing and tapping into the power that lies within you. It's not without, it's already right there. But yes, through practices like meditation, mindfulness, and self affirmations, you can cultivate resilience, foster self healing, and navigate the path toward personal growth and transformation with confidence and grace. I know I have it written in here somewhere, but I'm going to say it again. We want to be empowered with peace, not empowered with anger. That's too easy. That's sloppy. And that just keeps the process going. Okay, another testimony. All right, Brad's. Yes. Oh, I have great memories about Brad. Yeah. Finishing up right now. So he was referred to me. I had a client in Colorado who hired me to get divorced. And the transformation she went through was so significant that the husband reversed it and said, I want to do what you're doing. And I worked with both of them for several months, and we ended up saving the marriage because she did the work on herself. He did the work on himself. I never let them work on each other because when they went to therapy, that didn't work. And we saved the marriage. And that was over a year ago. And then he introduced me to his best friend, Brad. So I love referrals, especially when they have huge breakthroughs and they just go all in. So Brad met me after a pretty traumatic breakup that was also in line with a series of breakups, right? This habitual relationship over and over again. And he had two beloved family members die, like really close together. So he was at a breaking point. And where most people, and maybe him in the past, before he had this moment, he had gone the direction of just wallowing in hell, in despair, blaming everybody else, numbing out, and going through this mundane reality, consuming and regurgitating the same thing over and over again. Instead, he was under so much pain, he realized, I have to do something different. So we went all spiritual. He learned the tools. He learned the I'm awake process first thing in the morning. He learned how to shield himself. He learned how to go to sleep with the wish fulfilled. He started journaling. He went on vacation by himself. He started to create a vision. Now, he's in the military and he was looking at a much longer term and a very defeated personality. And then next thing, he's creating 5 visions for his retirement life and moving towards them, obligating, spending money on them and dating. And once he realized that when it came to his dating behavior, he was still repeating some of the unconscious behavior. So imagine, just like Nicole, my earlier testimony, knocking down 10, 20 hurdles, just rock star. When it came to relationships, as soon as a ghosting would happen, or they would follow through, or they'd change their plans, anything he could react to, he would go back to seeing the previous relationship in this manifestation. And that's all he could see. His body was telling him he was right. He learned to control that reaction and understand he was creating that from his old story. And he chose to let that go over and over again. He learned to persist in his affirmations for his visions. And they were all about him. All of a sudden, his 5 visions turned into one. Next thing, a domino effect happens. He's too busy for low value dating. He knows he's looking forward to meeting his next soulmate. And he's going to go to pilot school. And he's going to get out of the military like significantly earlier, like with all of his benefits, like magical stuff is happening. And people are going, what are you doing? And he's like, talk to Anthony. Now he's excited about meeting somebody, jumping out of an airplane, going to flight school, doing a layover in over the weekend in Germany when he's flying a plane. He's laying over the weekend and meeting that lover there, right? He's no longer looking for someone to fill the void. He's filling himself up and he's excited. He's freaking busy. He's focused. And then guess what happens? Now people are reaching out to him and he's genuinely too busy to waste his time because he has his vision, right? I don't know about you, but I love it when I have a vision and become obsessed with it. If you're suffering, get a vision. Change your mind 100 times. You'll hear me if you pay me, right? I say, change your mind over and over again, but stop saying, I'm going to figure it out. Stop saying, I don't know. You're better to pick one thing and change your mind than to keep saying, I'm going to keep trying to figure out what I want to do in my life. I'm going to keep looking at something. I'm going to keep researching. Pick something. And then change your mind. The power is in choice. The power is in the assumption. Now, embracing forgiveness and letting go. An essential part of our journey towards healing and growth involves forgiveness and letting go. This can be a challenging process as it requires us to confront difficult, hardwired assumptions, beliefs, and emotions, and relinquish grudges or resentments that we may have held on to for a long time. That's back to our I am statements. This is who I am. This is what my partner made me because I suffered for blah, blah, blah. However, it is in this act of release that we can find profound freedom and peace. Resisting forgiveness all you want. You will not be fully whole long after your breakup unless you eventually practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is an act of understanding, compassion, and ultimately self-care. And from one of my favorites, Wayne Dyer, thank you. Resentment is like venom that continues to pour through your system, doing its poisonous damage long after being bitten by the snake. It is not the bite that kills you. It's the venom. So let's go off script there again because you might be reacting to this. We're not saying it didn't happen. We're saying, are you still triggering the bite over and over again through uncontrolled thoughts, through illusions, through assumptions? Are you reactivating the wound? It's time to look at that. Only you can change that. No community can change that for you. Not talking to your friend who's going to affirm more of what you're saying. You have to get involved and change that narrative. Now, it does not mean condoning or forgetting the actions that caused us pain, but rather choosing to free ourselves from the burden of carrying the resentment of anger, right? You point the dagger at people this much over and over again. Eventually what's going to happen is you take that dagger and you turn it inward and it turns into shame. So there are some very selfish reasons that I want you to stop hating somebody. and stop talking about the pain they gave you, because now you're taking the dagger and you're turning it on yourself, even though you don't realize it. It's unconscious. It's a habit. Now, it's about acknowledging the past without allowing it to dictate our future, bringing it up in conversations with friends and family, using it as an excuse to be unaccountable to other relationships, right? Please don't do this. Don't use your unhealed wound, the awful thing that someone did to you, as your excuse to lie, to protect yourself, to have your guard up in your next relationship. If that's what you're doing, then what is the point of the relationship? If you're not ready to love the next person more than you ever have anyone on the planet before, then what are we here for? I think we should all be looking forward to the next love of our life being the next love of our life. If that's not what I'm doing, then what's the point? It's not about pretending it did not happen. It's about taking yourself off the drama triangle and being responsible for your own emotional regulation. When we forgive, we're not only releasing negativity towards others, but we're also liberating ourselves from the chains of bitterness and regret that hinders our growth. In other words, forgiveness is not just about them, it's about you. In parallel with forgiveness is the concept of non attachment, a fundamental principle in many spiritual traditions. And I put this one in here because I have a client and it comes up, but most of my clients read books I tell them to read. So, number one, if you haven't read it already, I recommend getting Michael Singer's, oh my gosh, I have it right in front of me, Untethered Soul. I quote from it all the time. Michael Singer's Untethered Soul. But without telling my clients, a lot of times they will go out and get other books. And so this one comes up a lot, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Now, in that book, he talks about affirmations not working. And so it's a great conversation for discernment. He's talking about mindless, repetitious affirmations said without any feeling of having it already. In other words, same thing as praying for something that you don't think you have already. You're never going to get it then. You have to pray from the place of already having it. So I'm including this because it's relevant. Ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius talked about how important it is to let go of things that are outside of your control. There is a lot in life that we can't control: the economy, other people's behavior, what's going to happen in the future. And if we spend all our time and energy trying to control these things, we're just going to end up frustrated and unhappy. The key is to focus on the things we can control, which is our own thoughts, our own feelings, and our own behaviors, and let go of everything else. Marcus Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. He's also got a very active YouTube channel, which I just found out about recently, so I'd highly recommend you checking it out. He's versed, and so if you want to broad strokes, a lot of things we're talking about, go check it out. Non-attachment does not mean indifference or lack of care. It's about accepting the impertinence of things and releasing the need to control the outcomes. It's about allowing the life to flow naturally without resisting change or clinging to past experiences. There are numerous techniques to facilitate the process of forgiveness and letting go. Visualization exercises such as imagining negative emotions as a physical object that we consciously let go of can also be beneficial. So let's try a simple one. Again, we're going way over time, but I don't want you to miss this. So you're going to hear it here. I want you to practice it later. So again, close your eyes. I want you to identify a place on your body. Just pick a spot on your body where you would say that's where the source of your pain is. Your anger, your sadness, your misery, your despair. Just pick some place on your body. You can come back to this later and do it deeper. I want you to get what you came for. Pick some part on your body, and I want you just to allow it to be there. Put some attention to it. Give it some mass. Give it some color. Hell, give it a smell. Give it a shape. I want you to allow yourself to feel this thing inside your body, knowing that if you can feel it, if you can sense it, if you can see it, that means you can take it out of your body. You can get rid of it. You decide how hard it is to let go of your wounds and your trauma. That's all on you. It's all on me. So once you've decided that you're ready to remove this thing, I want you to look around your room in your mind's eye or open your eyes and find a bag or materialize one in your mind. A bag that you're ready, that you know can hold this thing, this putridness, this ugliness, this part of you that you want just to be gone. And when you've identified this bag, I want you just to literally go through all the steps, make it as real as possible. Fill your arms, fill your hands, picking that bag up. And I want you just to, with intention, remove this thing from your body, from wherever you have it. If it's on your chest, your arm, your leg, just you take it out. I want you to see it. See it in your hand. And when you're ready with intention, I want you to put your hand, see yourself going through every motion, putting this thing that you have removed from yourself in this bag. Tie it off, zip it up, light it on fire, throw it in the trash. You do what you need to do. My point is, as simple as that silly little thing did, it's moving mountains, because anything you visualize long enough causes a reaction in your body, and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So give this a try when you have more time. And I want you to feel it gone and removed from yourself. And when you do this later, maybe when you go to sleep tonight, do the same exercise, and I want you to fill it up with something. Decide if it's a color, decide if it's an emotion, decide if it's something. Pick something and fill up that area that you just pulled out. And just believe it. If you do it and believe it, something's going to happen. I promise you. It can be as simple as you, or as hard as you choose it to be. Okay, embracing forgiveness and letting go is a journey, not a destination. It may take some time and practice, but the freedom and inner peace it brings, heck, you're worth it. It's valuable. By releasing negative emotions and embracing forgiveness, we open ourselves to new possibilities and set ourselves on a path of healing and spiritual growth. All right, 2 more testimonies. We're almost done. Kendra. Now, we've talked a lot about the high conflict, but let's not forget that, well, I'm going to say, you probably may not realize this. This is what I realize because I do this for a living. I 100% believe and see that the reason we have more high conflict divorces than amicable divorces is because people don't react unless there's enough pain. And trying to be amicable goes out the window if the other party suddenly goes high conflict. So that's a little framing. So here we have Kendra. Kendra grew up in this reality and upbringing of, right, sex is only with your partner, and it's reverent and it's spiritual and it's, right, there's all these rules around sexuality. She also grew up with ideas about money from her parents. So when she came to me for discernment. We spent 3 months deciding, does she want a divorce? Now, why did she come to me? Because when she went to her support system, when she went to her friends and family, because she wasn't wallowing in pain, because he wasn't running around cheating on her, stealing her money, because it wasn't the end of the world. Every single person in her life insisted that she should be grateful. She should just be happy with what she has. Don't rock the boat. Play your role, etc. He's a good man. So after 3 months, she decided, yes, I want to stay aligned. I want to move forward and I want more. And I want to want more and I want to divorce this man and I don't want to get ugly. And I'm not going to make him the enemy. So guess what happened? He immediately reacted. So at any given moment, an amicable divorce can go to high conflict when somebody gets a wrong idea in their head, when someone hires that cutthroat attorney that wants to go for blood. The difference is she emotionally regulated herself through the entire process. She didn't use him getting upset as a reason to get upset. She didn't give his accusations or illusions or pushback or him talk about what someone else told him. She processed herself. She knows how to wake up. She knows how to put her shield on. She knows how to take care of herself. And lo and behold, at the time of this recording, she's moving out of state. She was still able to share coffee with her soon-to-be ex-husband, and their date is ticking away. All we need is some signatures. The dates have come and gone. It's over. And she was able to leave with respect, grace, and a relationship that is not turned into mud. We're not saying they're going to be hanging out anytime soon, right? But the fact they can still be drinking coffee and leave each other in a good way, I'll tell you what, she did that. She wanted it. She persisted in it. She did her due diligence to find out, do I really want this to happen? Do I want to stay or where do I want to go? And when she decided, we worked with her until it happened. And she's been charged the whole way. And she's going to be a sex and intimacy coach. How awesome is that? We need more of that in the world. So I want to share her story because it is possible to be amicable and stay amicable. It's also possible to be high conflict and to go amicable. That's one of my favorite things to do and see that happen. Changing lives. All right, cultivating inner peace and joy. As we journey through the aftermath of breakup, divorce, one of the most empowering realizations that we can come to is that our happiness and peace are not solely dependent on our external circumstances, but rather lie within us. Cultivating inner peace and joy is about nurturing a state of tranquility, contentment that can withstand the ups and downs of life. Inner peace is the state of being mentally and spiritually at ease, with enough knowledge and understanding to keep oneself strong in the face of discord or stress. It's about nurturing a quiet confidence and serenity within ourselves, regardless of the chaos that might be surrounding us. As we cultivate inner peace, we become less reactive to our external events and are more attuned to our own needs and our own feelings. Now, it's important to cultivate inner peace and joy in practicing self-love and self-care. This includes taking care of our physical health through proper nutrition and exercise, but it also involves nurturing our mental and emotional well-being. And I'm going to say right here, empowerment to walk away from arguments because your joy is more important than being right. It's about honoring your own feelings, not demanding others honor yours. It's your feeling. You honor it. You love it. You accept it. Setting boundaries on you to follow too, not just using boundaries as weapons, as most people teach it this way. They make an unconscious boundary and claim someone agreed to it, not cross it. And then they're surprised when they cross it because they use the boundary as a weapon, right? Use the boundary for them, but also know what it means to you and what you're going to do when the boundary is crossed. Treating ourselves with kindness and compassion. Put the shame stick down. Now, there are numerous techniques for cultivating joy and peace within ourselves. Meditation. Practicing meditation can help you focus on the present moment, allowing you to let go of negative thoughts and feelings. Notice it's letting go. Notice the word allowing. It's simple if you let it happen. Visualization, imagining a positive future. To imagine a positive future, you have to create it. You can't just say, my life is full of respect and love and peace. No. What beach are you on? What day of the year? You have to get concrete. Abstract does not do anything, does not create. Concrete imagery, things you can smell, taste, and touch, that makes it real. So imagining a positive future can help you maintain hope and optimism during difficult times. Yeah, you're suffering and you have the vision of your future in great detail, you're going to feel better. It's not possible to not feel better. If you're saying, I don't know what it is, then that's what you need to work on. If you're saying, I can't, then that's what you want to work on. Okay, I'm going to say effective prayer. So for those who are religious, prayer can provide comfort and support during a breakup or divorce. Now, when I talk about prayer, I'm talking about praying the wish fulfilled, praying because you and the Creator are one, praying not to some external source because you are a victim, praying with gratitude. I've already got it. Thank you so much. Come out of your prayer knowing that you've asked and it has already been given. Do that. And I dare you to call me someday saying nothing changed. Give it a shot and do it again and again. In journaling, writing down your thoughts and feelings in a journal can be a cathartic exercise, allowing you to process your emotions. So I would say, instead of calling your friends and family and venting when you're really triggered and you just have to let it out. Let's say you're like, screw this guy, Anthony. I don't give a crap. I got to tell my shitty story. Try to do it on paper instead. When you write things down, you're more of a witness. You're observing it with the distance. You don't fully relive it the same way as you do when you spin it in your head or when you say it out loud and you unconsciously start to lie a little bit more and more because the momentum's carrying over. Write it down so that you can burn it, tear it up, but also see what's happening. Give that a shot. Also, exercise, engaging in physical activity releases endorphins, right? Serotonin, get the body moving, improving your mood and reducing stress. Self-care, self-care, self-care. Taking care of yourself, such as eating healthy, getting enough sleep, putting effort into your appearance can boost your appearance, and adopting a positive mindset. Okay, I'm going to spend more time on the self-care because I'm sorry, self-care is not taking a bubble bath, drinking a bottle of wine on Sunday. That's getting drunk. I like to teach this idea. Self-care is a moment by moment exercise. That's mindfulness. Taking care of myself in the moment. So if I start telling you a negative story, that I can stop myself, even if it's embarrassing, because I'm worth it. And that's the energy I want to put out in the world, that kind of responsibility. So self-care should be, the ugly word should, I know, but this is what I want you to do. Make self-care moment by moment. That's going to increase your awareness. That's going to keep you empowered. That's going to trigger an awakening by doing that over and over again. Now, question, how can I support someone else going through a spiritual awakening? I include this one because I have a client who is in the discernment phase. Some things happened in their marriage. Somebody was unfaithful. The other person got really depressed. They started doing their healing work. They went through a spiritual awakening. Guess what? Now the person who is not awake cannot deal with them. They see them as selfish, see them as narcissist, when they're really fighting over the fact that their partner won't argue with them. Their partner won't fight with them. Their partner's not falling for comments like, if you love me, then you would blank. You would just know. If you loved me and respected me, you would stand here and have this fight. No, this person has awakened and they know they perceive reality differently than their partner and they're still loving them, accepting them. So here I am working with this individual to have their own awakening and it's working. It's amazing, right? Get awake, then decide, do you want to stay or go? So that's why I included this. So the best way to support someone else going through a spiritual awakening is to empower them to do the same for themselves. Keep doing it, right? Your partner or your friends going through an awakening, just say awesome. Don't attach your stuff, your ego. They're probably gonna resist it, push you away, or ignore it. So just love them where they're at. 'Cause that's what they're learning how to do. Encourage them to reprogram themselves to heal themselves and remind them that this is for the betterment of everyone, even if it may seem selfish at first. Ultimately, the best way to support someone else in their spiritual journey and awakening is to have your own awakening and be a living example of the transformation that is possible. We're waking up every day. Might as well join the party. Okay, last section, creating your personalized spiritual growth plan. I keep waiting for some typos because usually it's full of it. So, as we approach the end of this journey together, it's important to remember that spiritual growth is a lifelong process. It is not about the destination, but the path that we continually walk, grow, and evolve on. So, the spiritual awakening framework is an effective tool that assists in bringing the spiritual into the everyday. I call it the mundane, facilitating a smooth transition from an asleep creator conscious state to an awakened state of being. It's a blueprint for aligning your daily life with a spiritual journey, grounding your spiritual growth in tangible realities of your everyday life. Doing it now, not going away to do it. So here's a glimpse into how you can incorporate this framework into your personal spiritual growth plan. Number one, determine your spiritual goals. Consider what you want to achieve in your journey. This could be anything from creating inner peace to fostering forgiveness to awakening your inner strength. Define your goals clearly, concretely, with vivid detail, and consider why it's important to you. Lean in. Number two, identify daily practices. Again, I do all this stuff, but for anybody that's on this call, you're going to get the framework enough to do this on your own until you're ready for more. So just follow these steps. Identify daily practices. Reflect on the techniques and practices that we've discussed and more, right? Meditation, mindfulness, self affirmations, forgiveness, gratitude, joy cultivation. This is, oh my gosh, this is so hard work, right? I'm asking you to work really hard and feel really good. Decide which of these resonate with you the most and consider how you can incorporate them into your daily routine. Start with one and add two or three, right? Build your muscle. Three, big one right here. Big one. Create your sacred space. This is a physical space where you engage in your daily spiritual practices. It should be a place where you feel comfortable, peaceful, free from distraction. It could be the corner of your room, a spot in your garden, or even a quiet place in your mind. I encourage you to find a space that you can make sacred. If you can't see that, then I want you to go even deeper. Find something mundane. Find a spot in your home that you care less about, that's dirty all the time, something that is the epitome of mundane. I've said many times, what about your coffee maker? If you make a mundane area sacred to you, so you can say your affirmations every time you pass by it, when you can check in with yourself every time you pass by it, you start creating sacred from the mundane. You do that, my friends. Make that the obsessive part of your life. And next thing you know, you're creating sacred relationships, sacred jobs, sacred business. You're creating sacred everywhere you go. You see somebody in pain, you're seeing them in their power. You're making them sacred. Try that out. And I guarantee you, something is going to dramatically shift fast because that is a choice that only you can make. Make everything sacred. Start with one thing and then increase from there. 4, commit to a regular practice. Consistency is key in spiritual growth. Commit to the practicing your chosen techniques regularly, even if it's just a few minutes each day. From 0 to 5 minutes is huge. Remember, it's not about the length of time you spend practicing, but the quality and intentionality of your practice. 5, reflect and adjust, right? If I'm talking about an affirmation, talk about a prayer, talk about a vision, any of the 20 techniques I teach, you always want to revise them, reflect on them, change them, fine tune them. If you leave it stagnant and don't look at your vision for 6 months, guess what? Your vision is stagnant. And so might your life be reflecting that, right? The more you invest in yourself in these selfish activities, the more your life is going to change and propel you moving forward. Build momentum. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. So, this is the taste of the power of spiritual awakening framework and how it can become a part of your spiritual growth plan. The full program delves deeper, providing a comprehensive guide for your spiritual journey. Creating your personalized spiritual growth plan is a powerful step toward continued spiritual growth and transformation. So, make up your own. You're going to be so far ahead of the curve if you invest that time in yourself. So, by incorporating daily practices and the spiritual awakening framework into your routine, you're not only committing to your spiritual journey, but integrating it into the fabric of your daily life, transforming the mundane into the sacred. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let this be that step for you. And we got one more testimony, and then we're going to finish up with me telling you what to do next, as everyone does. So, Danny, if you're on a call with me, I'm going to ask you one of my first 2 questions is going to be why now and why me? Danny's why me was because he followed myself on Facebook and he wanted to do what I was talking about. His why now was my wife kidnapped the kids, crossed state lines, enrolled them in school. I have the LifeLock alert and no one cares. Everyone thinks I'm the crazy one. Everyone thinks I'm making it up because she's just saying we're visiting grandma. He had done everything he possibly could. He'd already thrown money at it. He already threw therapy at it. He did all the right things and none of them were working. So we went a different direction. This man is a true rock star. He is still living in the house over a year later in a very high conflict divorce. We're talking things are flying across the air. We're talking about recordings. We're talking about many bad things that we don't want to talk about openly. And he's happy all the time. Why? Because he got selfish. Because he understood that he can't teach his 3 children. And they've got issues. They got stuff. We got some physical disabilities. We have some mental disabilities going on. His 3 children, how can he teach his children to be selfish if he can't be selfish himself? And what that looks like a year later, ladies and gentlemen, is that he's not giving up. He's modeling for his kids. He's showing them another way to deal with conflict. And we're looking forward to August for that court date because he is doing everything that everyone told him not to do, and he's just seeing amazing results. So my point is, be confident in the storm. Be strong. Do these tools, either my tools or somebody else's, because they're all out there. They're all available to you to get awake and stay awake. And I'm just really proud of him all the time. So, next steps to embark on your personal journey of transformation. Then we'll finish up. As our time together comes to a close, remember that this is just the beginning of your personal journey of transformation. This is only the surface. And if you integrate this into your life consistently, you will see the world and your life differently. For those who feel called to delve deeper and continue this transformative journey, I invite you to join our upcoming 11-week coaching group program. It's a comprehensive program offering unique opportunities to fully immerse yourself in the spiritual growth journey with personalized guidance from me and support every step of the way. In the program, we'll delve deeper into the spiritual awakening roadmap, which is the 3 creator consciousness from asleep to awake to aligned, the 9 proven processes that I teach to discern and navigate the roadmap, the very special conscious leadership mantras program. There'll be 90-minute weekly calls, accountability, printable resources, and other bonus courses. You will learn how to integrate these tools into your daily life seamlessly, transforming your everyday experiences into profound moments of self-discovery and growth. More than a simple course, this is a journey of transformation that extends far beyond these 11 weeks, setting the foundation for a lifetime of spiritual growth and personal development. So, you know how it goes. Spots limited. I encourage you to book your place as soon as possible. This is an opportunity to nurture your inner strength, embrace forgiveness, cultivate inner peace, and most importantly, transform your life through spiritual growth. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today and embark on a journey of transformation and growth. Book your place in the 11-week group coaching program and allow yourself to explore the depths of your spiritual potential. The path to your best self awaits. So, get these comments. See, we got some comments over here. It could definitely take some time. The bag exercise was profound and deep. Oh, can you please remind me at the end of how the bag exercise goes? Right. So you want to check in with your body. Nico, thank you. Check in with your body. Where is it resonating? Identify something. And again, this is a simple process. We're not trying to break the bank here. Check in with your body. And honestly, you can pick any spot in your body, but if there's someplace calling to you, go there first. Hold on to it. I want you to allow this ugly feeling, the sadness, whatever it is, just identify it. Give it a color, give it mass, make it something physical that you can touch, make it an object versus this abstract thing that you can't deal with. It's too big, right? So make it real. Make it real. And then when you're ready, you can take it out of your body. So you can look at it, feel the weight of it, feel the mass of it, the smell of it, make it real. And I want you to identify a place to put it, an imaginary bag or a real bag. The point is, I want you to really go through the experience, make it immersive. Literally, do it when we're done with this call. Walk through the motions, make it as real as possible so you get the most relief as possible, right? Put it in the bag, seal it up, do something to bless it, honor it, and get rid of it. That's a really fast way to do it. Hopefully that resonates for you, Nico. Thank you for asking. Let's see. Is this live? Yes, it's live. Yeah, it's hard to do on the phone, right? Yeah. Trust me, I've done these before where I have no presentation, but then I'm like just for 3 hours talking. So yes, everybody that's on this call gave me their email address. So you're all going to get a copy of the video and you're going to get a copy of the slides. So that's the best way I can answer that. Thank you so much. So that's a too big of a question to answer. I would recommend you book a session with me, which is why the link is here, to talk about the difference of the approaches. Because really, what are we trying to do? Right? There may that's I'd like to go into a deeper conversation about what you're trying to get to. Right? So no worries. So I recommend that's why this is here. Y'all are here. I have no problem giving somebody 50 minutes to an hour of free consulting, even never talk to you again. I will give you the best I possibly can, and you're going to know whether you want one of my options or not. I have three different options. So, one on one, group coaching, or the videos. So, I invite you to get on a call with me. I'm a pretty nice guy. Okay. Let's see. Got it. It's definitely a live video. I'm recording it. Yeah. So the difference is I just didn't look at the comments till now because I wanted to stay on target. So I appreciate everyone being here. So yeah, here's the link. I'm gonna close the comments for now. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, jump in there, book some time. It's free. What do you gotta lose? Now go to my website, go to this link. If you just want to go to sacredcobra.com, you will see in the top left, there'll be a link for a free divorce planner. It's 40 pages. It is awesome. If you are post divorce, you're going to love the emotional regulation in it and the pivoting and the law of attraction techniques that I've outlined. If you're getting ready to go through a divorce, you want this free document because it's going to tell you what to take to your attorney's office if you haven't got an attorney yet. It's going to help you decide what do you want in your life, right? It's going to help you do a lot of the emotional work so you're not just acting reactively. So feel free to go in there. All it takes is an email and you can access that divorce planner. Also, I have a YouTube channel. You can find me, Awaken Your Reality, Anthony Cortino, or at Sacred Cobra. I have lots of videos there about emotional regulation, manifestation, divorce, and the divorce process. I'd love for you to join me with an email, join me in my program, or join me as someone I know is listening to me. This is a beautiful experience. It's a shared experience. We want to get this message out. There are many coaches talking probably about the same thing I am. We all have a unique message and voice. If I'm not saying something resonating, please keep seeking. Don't give up on yourself. We got one more comments and then we'll call it a day. Can I ask where the bag take object out process is taken from and reminding me, right? So I've done a lot of this work over my lifetime. So it's the things I teach are amalgamations of things I've been learning since I was 12 years old. I mean, I got exposed to Silva mind control method at an advanced level at the age of 11 and 12, right? I've been a minister in church and took care of the youth. I've been a Buddhist area leader over the Dallas Metroplex area where I was the only one not born in the practice. And I've also come with a background of being in a nonprofit men's organization worldwide called the Man. I don't teach from dogma. I just teach processes that work. And then we work on what's the tweak for you? What's the part not working? So yes, please follow my link. I'd love to talk to you as well. Let's see. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Claire, for the great questions. Yeah, I mean, definitely check out my YouTube channel. You'll be getting more information, more videos, more offers. So let me just say goodbye to everybody. Hello, my name is Anthony Sacred Cobra Cortino. What I hope you take away from all this is that if you have a desire for more, you're going to get more. If you have a desire to be happy, even if you can't right now, I want to inspire you just to keep leaning to wanting to be happy, right? Never give up on the desire. Give up on the struggle. And here's how I like to finish it. And then we're going to call it a night because I'm tired now. And I've enjoyed every moment with you. Book, call me, get on my calendar, follow my stuff on YouTube, my website. I'll take you on the journey, however you want to go. I want you to remember this. You are sacred. You are worthy. And you are unconditional love. There's no excuses anymore. If there is an excuse, then let's look at that. That's the illusion. So hope that this all lands on you well. Thank you so much for putting me for 2 hours. Woo, I went way over and I'm glad I did it. So be looking for your emails. You'll be getting emails from either Anthony at sacredcobra.com or from sacredcobra at anthonycortino.com. You will get a copy of the video and the PDF. It may not happen tonight because that's a process, but you will get it in the next 24 hours. And until then, I do mean this. I love all of you because y'all are all parts of me and I know I'm worth it. So there you go. That goes to you too. Love yourself, bless yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.